Well, don't think anybody's in here right now, unfortunately. And it may because maybe because I messed with the time. Somebody's making a lot of noise out there, but so I may just kind of bullshit a little bit. You know, you would think that the country. I'm not living in the country anymore, but when I did live in the country, you would think that the country would be quieter than the city. But it, honestly, guys, it's just as noisy, um, or it has over time where my parents live out in the sticks, pretty much gotten just as noisy as subdivisions are in town. There's always somebody roaring around or doing something, revving their motors up. There's a kid in our neighborhood that runs his I don't know, scooter or whatever up and down the road like almost every day, every freaking day. And I'm sure the kids are on vacation right now. I did have one person here, but now I don't. Um, I may not have anybody because I, screwed with the time. I usually have these at starting at 8 o'clock Eastern time, 8 o'clock sharp. And I wanted to try finishing up watching one of the movies that I had not seen before I actually got on here and talked about it because I don't want to sound like I'm talking out of my butt. So, like I said, I'll bullshit a little bit to give people a little bit of time to get in here before I start talking about the movies tonight. But this is another edition, or it's going to be another edition of my dinner with DePalma. I'm going to talk about a couple of other DePalma movies. One, I actually have a physical copy. This is a DVD. I'm thinking seriously of getting the Blu-ray of this soon because I've got some gift card money for Amazon from Amazon that I need to put to good use. So I love Raising Cain, and I kind of went through it real fast before the stream because it was the one that I had seen and I remembered a lot of it, but I just wanted to catch some of the highlights. And just doing that made me again realize how much I liked that movie. The movie that I did not see, which is the second movie I'm going to talk about tonight, is Carlito's Way. And that one was a little bit longer. That one was over 2 hours long. And I wanted to make sure that I really got deep into the film and got a good understanding of the film before I got on here and talked about it. But we're going to get to that. I do have my, you're probably going to be thinking, Dana, a lot of these dinner portions of the my dinner with the Palma streams are the same or similar. But being as a lot of De Palma's movies take place in a city atmosphere, it makes it kind of easy to pick street food, or food truck food or something of that nature. So Steve got us Jersey Mike subs earlier today, and I ate half of mine for lunch and saved the other half for the stream. So, I mean, you don't have to do a sub if you want to participate in a dinner portion. You could have a slice of pizza. You could have a hot dog fixed your way, with all the toppings and all of that, or you could do something completely different. Because it's not like I'm like checking IDs or something, or I'm gonna it's like everybody that's doing the dinner portion's got to come on camera, and I got to examine what you're eating or not eating. I would never do that, but when I give list some things for the dinner portion, those are merely only suggestions 4 people. You can basically pick anything you want. But I am kind of hungry, so I'm going to start taking little nibbles of this. And the other reason why a lot of these dinner portions, at least on my end, are snack size, instead of like having a big plate of spaghetti or something like that. Um, Instead, I opt to do something smaller. We did have chili for dinner, but I didn't want to like turn right around and eat another bowl of chili. So I thought that the sub sandwich or the half a sub sandwich was a good alternative to doing something else that's a little heavier on the stomach. So I do want to talk about some things that I've got coming up. One being Saturday, starting at 7:15 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm going to be doing a New Year's Eve watch along. I would love to see if we could get a whole bunch of people in here for this. I would really, really love that if we could do that. Now, if we don't, I know it's New Year's Eve, and I'm sure a lot of you have things already planned. I was hoping that if I did this early enough, more people would be able to join in. I mean, you are welcome to come to the chat and watch the movie and enjoy whoever is on here live on the stream, um, talking about it. And you guys can discuss it in the chat and bring up different things and all of that. Whoever that was just dropped out. So I'm thinking it might be, again, it might just be people checking out different live streams to see if it's something interesting. And when it doesn't seem interesting to them, they just kind of slip on out the back way. So, again, I know it's getting close to New Year's. Um, People got tons of other things that they could be doing. Also, they could be traveling. They could be traveling to spend time with family. Christmas isn't the only holiday season where you'd want to spend time with family. I don't generally go back home for New Year's Eve and New Year's, but I do for Christmas. But, there might be other people that maybe are still visiting family. Maybe they came in for Christmas and they're still visiting. And I totally get that. Um, and so I don't, expect a huge crowd tonight for this. I was kind of hoping, some of the people that usually come to these, especially the My Dinner with DePalma streams, would come in because I believe Dirk expressed an interest in, or talked about Carlito's Way at least being one of his favorites. So I was kind of hoping to see him and the regulars in here. Um, I had a few, well, I had quite a few people, about 10 or maybe a little bit more, in the stream last night for the Nasty New Year's stream, where I talked about a few of my favorite New Year's movies or New Year's Eve horror films. So we do have the New Year's Eve watch along coming up. I will have another My Dinner with DePalma, barring anything happening, um, next Thursday. I just made a big old mess here with my sandwich, but I am going to look up the movies. I'll just go ahead and tell you guys um, the movies that I'll be covering next Thursday, if y'all will allow me this little indulgence here. But let's see here. So the next two movies I will be covering are Mission Impossible from 1996 and Snake Eyes from 1998. I believe I've seen Mission Impossible, but I have not seen Snake Eyes. So that's definitely going to be a first for me. So you guys can look forward to that. Oh, yay. Now I got two in here. So, nobody is well, I got three in here now. Nobody's talking it up in the chat. So I'm not sure if these three that are in here are regulars. Well, now I went down to 0 again. Jeez. I must be driving everybody away. But I was going to say, I didn't know if those three that were showing up in there were regulars or not. But I think at a quarter after, which will be about, less than a minute, I will go ahead and get started talking about the movies, and hopefully some people will drop in before I'm done with this. And if not, maybe people can watch it a little bit later, because like I said, I understand that people are very busy this time of year. So, okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started with the first movie, which is definitely one of my favorites, and that is Raising Cain. And I think, just to waste a little more time, I'm going to see if I can bring up a trailer. I know I'm tempting fate with this, but it's just a trailer, let's see. But I did want to kind of show a little trailer if we can find one here. Oops. Come on now. Okay. So here we go. We're going to share my screen here. And hopefully I'll be able to make this larger after.
Looks like she was put in the car when she was still alive and then drowned. Look at her nails. See how they're cut and torn? Looks like she was trying to claw her way out. You should see the expression on her face.
I hate to bring this up, but you are married to the perfect man.
I don't know.
Car popped up out of Half Moon Marsh. A woman's body in it.
And he's becoming awfully compulsive with Amy. He doesn't just take care of her. He studies her.
What do we got now? Two moms disappear from the same playground.
You could get us all put away for good.
I have this horrible feeling that it has something to do with his father.
I did nothing. I don't even exist.
This thing you're doing means everything to the old man.
I won't hurt her.
She'll hurt you.
We gotta find these women now. I don't want to be walking behind any lousy coffins.
I want to know what you've done with Amy!
I don't know where she is.
I do.
You should never have gotten out.
Dr. Waldheim!
You're nothing but a cheap hoodlum.
I am what you made me, Dad.
I know what you're going to do. It's a bad thing, and I'm gonna tell.
It was Fonzie! He did it again!
That's my wife. You saw us in the park together, didn't you?
I'm not gonna let that loving wife of yours sell you down the river.
Give me my child!
What do you think?
I think...
Hickory dickory dock. Cain has picked his lock.
Okay. So that looks like a trailer for Footloose, actually. Okay. Um, hey, Texas, you say, yeah, this is one of those DePalma flicks where he ripped off himself because he'd been ripping off Hitchcock for so long. TJ, you said Lithgow makes it work. Yeah, I was actually going to bring that up, TJ. That is definitely John Lithgow is definitely the thing that moves and grooves in this movie because John Lithgow is just so awesome as an actor. Um, and this is no exception. And I've seen John Lithgow play all different kinds of characters. I've seen him play comedic characters. I've seen him play devious characters. I've seen him play dramatic characters, which actually I was talking about. I think there was a Footloose trailer right after the Raising Cain one, which John Lithgow is also in, where he plays a preacher who's trying to can't even talk, trying to protect his congregation, or he thinks he's trying to protect his congregation in Footloose by outlawing dancing and music and all of this stuff in his small community. So John Lithgow is just awesome. I don't think I have disliked him in anything that I've seen him in, even when he's playing a devious character, which he definitely does in Raising Cain. He actually plays multiple characters. He plays his father. He plays a multiple personality, stemming from evidently abuse he suffered at the hands of his father. And there are points in time, there are different points in the movie where you're not sure what's real and what's not real. What is in Carter's head, which is the main character, played by John Lithgow. But he plays, actually, he plays four different characters because he plays Carter. He plays what he believes to be in his head to be his brother. He plays his father, and he plays another strange character of Margot, which I can see where Texas is definitely correct, and DePalma is kind of ripping off himself because I see elements of Dress to Kill in this one, which a lot of people consider Dress to Kill kind of ripping off Hitchcock. But, I definitely hold no ill will towards DePalma for the way that he directed his movies. Because no matter how much it may seem like he's ripping, different directors off, he still does have his own style. And I think his style works. And I'll say it again, De Palma is impossible to pin down as one type of director. And with Raising Cain, that is no exception. So basically, the tagline for Raising Cain is when Jenny cheated on her husband, he didn't just leave, he split. And you definitely see that the John Lithgow interacting with John Lithgow is just so awesome. It is, I mean, it's creepy, but it's amusing. The way the other personality um, is literally another person on the screen, and interacts with him and puts him down. And there are points in time where Carter acts like a little boy. And he even sees a little boy who, basically comes out of the woodwork and says, they're going to find out about you. They're going to find out what you've done. I'm going to tell what you've done. Um, and this is just an interesting movie. It's not an overly long movie. It's only about an hour and 31 minutes. Yes, TJ, that is certainly correct. That Tarantino does it too. But I also love Tarantino's movies. I, speaking of Tarantino, and I may have mentioned this before, I would love to do a series of streams on Tarantino movies. That might be my next one when I finish up the my dinner with DePalma. So, sorry guys. I know it's disgusting to see things on my teeth and stuff, but I am really hungry. I've been holding off on eating this sandwich or the sub until I got ready to do the stream. But I want to see if I can come up with kind of a semi-clever title for the Tarantino streams, like I did with DePalma. I mean, the my dinner with DePalma just kind of came to me because I was thinking of that movie, My Dinner with Andre. I was like, well, why don't I just do My Dinner with DePalma? And so let me try to come up with something to go along with Tarantino. And I must be boring the hell out of people, or their internet is like rocking and rolling or something, or me eating a sandwich is turning people off. I'm not sure. But people keep dropping out. I had like 5 and now there's 1. And I don't know. Well, now we got 3 again. Some people could be having trouble with their internet still yet, from that polar vortex or whatever you want to call it that we had last week. The snow is all gone here because we had temperatures up in the 60s today, which I just totally don't like. I'm not saying that I want it to be frigid. I just don't want it to be in the 60s this time of the year. But so you can literally tell that I love Raising Cain, and really wish that I'd gotten a chance to watch it more in depth again. Unfortunately, I kind of ran out of time, but like I said, I have seen this movie enough that I feel like I can adequately talk about it. But just going through it today, like I said a little bit earlier, makes me want to buy that Blu-ray. And I probably will because, like I said, I've got some extra like Christmas gift card money that I can invest in some more movies. Although it might not be a good idea to do that, but it's probably be what I end up doing. So one of them might be the Blu-ray of Raising Cain. TJ, you say, yeah, nothing basically wrong with it. Hard, if not impossible, to find a director with 100% original style. Yeah, that is very true, TJ. And at this late date, for people, directors like DePalma to still be having decent output, I think is an amazing feat in and of itself. Because it is hard to do anything original anymore. Some people hit on it. Some of you might disagree with me, but I think I think movies like X and Pearl and probably Maxine are, while probably not 100% original, I think they're trying to do something different with these types of films, and I applaud that. Um, because as long as you can keep it interesting and kind of change it up a little bit, I think if you're a director and you can do that, I don't think your stuff will ever really go out of style, because it's almost like you keep reinventing yourself a little bit. Um, and like I said, I applaud that. I love that. And I would much rather watch stuff where they kind of follow a formula, but then they switch it up a little bit about halfway through, and give us something a little bit different, because that keeps me, one, from being bored. And in this day and age, this is my opinion only, guys, but it's rare to find movies of the caliber even that I'm talking about now with DePalma. Um, these 90s movies that he did. I still think they were high caliber. Um, while other people during the 90s were kind of treading water, I think DePalma was still making his way. He was still pounding the pavement. He was putting out, in my opinion, quality films, with something to say. Again, he's a chameleon director in my eyes. You cannot pin him down. I don't think anybody will ever be able to pin him down, because as soon as you think you might have him pinned down, he does a complete 360 and throws something else out there, that's totally different than what he's done before. Um, and I love that. I love that about him as a director. And, I hope he's around for a while longer to make some more cool films that I can watch and I can enjoy. But if you have not seen Raising Cain, I wasn't able to find it for free anywhere. But if you wanted to spend a few pennies or something, like about $3 or something, and rent it to watch, then that might be a viable option for you. Because I really think Raising Cain is a good one. I mean, DePalma has had some, not stinkers, mind you, but things that maybe fell short of his glory days. But he's never, in my opinion, just completely fallen off the map, like some directors have over time. He still puts out those little gems. So Raising Cain, I think, is one of those gems. I would highly recommend it. I think John Lithgow is phenomenal in this. Definitely has shades, in my opinion, of Dress to Kill in there. And Texas is right. It is one of those DePalma flicks where he ripped off himself. And I guess any director that's been around long enough will inevitably reach that point. Okay. So I'm going to read you a little bit of a plot synopsis. You probably got quite a bit of the plot just from watching that trailer. But from Master of Terror, Brian De Palma, comes a stylish psychological thriller that will keep you on the edge of your seat until the final frame. Carter Nix, John Lithgow, is a respected psychologist, loving husband, devoted father who decides to take a year off to help raise his daughter. Carter's wife, Jenny, is pleased to have her attentive husband home at first. When Carter shows obsessive behavior towards her daughter, Jenny becomes concerned, and to complicate matters, Jenny's old flame, played by Stephen Bauer, re-enters her life, but nothing can prepare her for the emergence of Carter's multiple personalities and a fiendish plot to recreate the infamous experiments of his deranged father. It all adds up to a roller coaster ride of heart-pounding suspense and stunning visuals in a film the New York Times calls a delirious thriller. So highly, highly recommend Raising Cain, especially if you've never seen it. Try to find a for free version first. But if you can't, like I said, you can spend a few bucks and rent it and watch it, and then determine if you want to spend the money to actually buy a physical copy to have in your movie wheelhouse. So the next film I was going to talk about is Carlito's Way. And I don't have a physical copy of Carlito's Way, but I am going to see if we can get a trailer for this. And then I'll talk a little bit about it. Okay, so there we go. I'm going to share my screen again with you guys.
Court of Appeals decision now devolve upon me the painful duty of unleashing upon society a reputed assassin. The prisoner's discharge. Call the next case.
You Carlito Brigante, man. You a legend.
He's one of us. Puts money in everybody's pocket big time.
He was big.
He's a tough guy.
He just got out of Lewisburg, man.
Now I am sitting in jail, wondering where you are, what you're doing, who you with.
What was it like inside, Charlie?
They get you.
Carlito, these new kids nowadays, they shotgun you just to see you fly up in the air, man.
Who are you working with?
I'm retired.
Retired. Retired.
I got a good feeling about this club. I think we're gonna make some real money.
But as soon as I make my 75, I'm splitting.
Maybe you don't remember me. My name is...
Maybe I don't remember the last time I blew my nose. If I ever see you here again, you die.
Did you ever kill anybody, Charlie?
Guys went down. Yeah, you just do what you gotta do to survive.
I give you $1 million to make a simple payoff and nothing happens. The contract's already down on your palm. You're gonna end up in that river out there.
I'm asking for your help.
Yeah, well, I ain't dealing. I ain't going back to prison no matter what.
You said you would break my heart, Charlie.
I gotta do just this one thing, and then I'm out.
Every instinct you got won't do anything but get you killed.
He saved my life, Gail.
Whatever he wants you to do, don't do it.
That's what I am, right or wrong. I can't change that. Never give up your friends, Dave.
And there's only one rule: you save your own ass.
Didn't you ever have a dream?
Yeah, I had a dream, Charlie. But now I'm awake.
Look at you, big time! Look at our guy, big time!
Okay. So I really like that trailer too. I actually watched the trailer before I viewed the film. And yes, TJ, by the way, Rip Rogero Deodato. Yes, Steve was telling me about that a little bit earlier. it kind of makes me want to watch some Deodato films in his honor, because I I respected Deodato as a director. I mean, he did some exploitation type of movies, yes. But I think he was a really good director, and I think that he had a vision. It might not have been a vision that everyone appreciated, but I think some of us did. Some of us genre fans did. Um, so yes, I'm glad you brought that up, TJ. Um, so moving on, talking about Carlito's Way. I don't know how many of you in here tonight, or how many of you maybe that watch this later have seen Carlito's Way. Although I don't think it's as good as Scarface, which Al Pacino is also in. I think it's a really good, well-made film. It is based on a book. I would actually like to read the book. A lot of these movies that I'm seeing that DePalma did, that are based on books that I have, just like Casualties of War that I talked about last week, um, that's based on a book. Um, and Carrie was based on Stephen King's novel. And I had already, I read the book since then. I don't think I had read the book the first time I saw Carrie, the movie. My dad kind of ruined the end of the movie for me. But, we're not talking about Carrie. But although I haven't read Carlito's Way, actually the two books that Carlito's Way is based on, I do feel like that De Palma handles this written material very well. I mean, I'm not saying he handles it with kid gloves or anything, but he respects the work, the written word, but he also puts his own spin on it, and he makes it his own. And I feel like he certainly did this with Carlito's Way. And I think Al Pacino is amazing in this. Sean Penn is amazing in this, even though I told Steve, I said, Sean Penn looks so odd in this movie because I'm not, I almost didn't know Sean Penn. And then I was like, oh, yeah, that's Sean Penn. But he has this big fro in the movie, and he is Jewish. Some people would refer to that as a Jewfro. I'm not trying to be, offensive or anything. That's just what some people would refer to it as. But Sean Penn plays a lawyer who gets Carlito out of prison. And because of that, Carlito feels like he owes this lawyer something. And he considers him a friend, he considers him a confidant, but over time, within the movie, he comes to realize that you can't trust. The only person in this movie that it turns out that he truly can trust is the woman he's in love with, Gail, who comes back into his life after he gets out of prison. And she wants to be a dancer. And Carlito's a little bit shocked at first when he sees some of the work she is doing. Excuse me. She's basically, I guess, doing some dancing in a strip club. And he doesn't like, she accuses him of judging her. And he's like, oh, no, I'm not judging you. But you can see that he's a little shocked that this beautiful woman that he's in love with is kind of making her living in such a sordid place as a strip club. And but she is a beautiful dancer. You see several scenes where she is dancing. And not all of that includes the strip club scenes. But it seems like almost every other person in the movie turns on Carlito. And there truly is, like I said, by the end of the movie, there truly is nobody that it can trust except Gail. And maybe his cousin, but his cousin, unfortunately, is killed off early in the film. But the lawyer, played by Sean Penn, actually ends up to become one of the more heinous of the characters. He's doing a lot of cocaine. He puts Carlito in positions that he really shouldn't be putting him in, and he abuses the loyalty that Carlito has for him, and twists it, and like I said, abuses that friendship, abuses that loyalty, and truly, I was talking about how Sean Penn's character was really pissed me off in Casualties of War. In Carlito's way, the character, was it David? I want to say it was David, but you guys can correct me if I'm wrong on that. But the David character was pretty much worse in a lot of ways, because he acted like he really cared about Carlito, but all he really cared about was his own skin, and making a lot of money. And he didn't care about anything else. And he basically got to a point where he turned his back on Carlito. Carlito kind of had the last laugh on that, and I'm not going to give that part away. I would just let in case there's some of you in here that have not seen Carlito's Way, and I don't want to spoil it for you. But again, a very well made movie. I think DePalma knocks it out of the park again with this one. Like I said, if I had to pick my favorite between Scarface and Carlito's Way, of course, I would say Scarface. And some people might disagree with me because they might say, well, Scarface is so over the top at some points in the film. While Carlito's Way is a little bit more subdued. I mean, there is violence. People do die some very heinous, in very heinous ways in this movie. But it doesn't seem as over the top as Scarface. And maybe that's why I like Scarface just a little bit better than Carlito's Way, even though Carlito's Way has excellent atmosphere, it has excellent characterization, and some awesome music, because it's supposed to take place in the 70s. And so, there might be some of you that say, ew, like it was 75 or so when the movie starts, when the main part of the movie starts. And so you heard a lot of disco music and stuff like that. And some people may go, I don't like disco music, but I think it really, the music that they chose, and I don't know if this was all DePalma or this was a combination of people's choices, as well as being able to get things that they could afford when making this movie. I just think it just fits and adds so much more atmosphere to the movie, even though it has oodles of atmosphere anyway. And it's one of those movies that you kind of wonder, okay, how much worse is it going to get? You know, all these people just seem to turn on him. Like I said, except for Gail, one right after the other. People that he considered friends, they weren't his friends. They just, again, wanted to use him um, to get higher up on the food chain. And he's really, you know, you can tell in the movie that Carlito is really trying to clean up his life. He doesn't want to kill people. He doesn't want to hurt anybody. He doesn't want to mess around with drugs or anything like that. He wants to be clean, he says. And he says that in multiple times throughout the movie. But again, I don't know how many of you in here tonight have seen Carlito's Way, but I highly, highly recommend it. I do want to go, I'm going to wait a little while and then I want to go back and watch it again because I really think that it's up there in the Brian DePalma movies for me, and I'm kind of sad that it took me this long till I was doing the DePalma streams to even watch things like Carlito's Way. I mean, it's just like there were all these fantastic films out there, and for whatever reason, I missed them. But I'm kind of getting a second chance to enjoy those films now, and I want to share the enjoyment with you guys that come to my streams and then they'll watch these videos later. So I went on almost an hour, but I'd be happy to stay on here maybe about 10 more minutes and make it an hour. If you guys are in here, all two of you right now, if you want to ask me anything or if you've got some suggestions for things I could do upcoming, including some watch-alongs, I need to, you know, start picking some more movies to, you know, to do watch-alongs for. So I probably, you know, normally the first Sunday of the month, I usually do like kind of like a bonus watch along. I probably won't this time unless, you know, something changes. Because although I got off like the day after Christmas, they're not giving us the day off. They're not giving us the Monday off following New Year's. And I thought that was odd, but maybe they don't consider New Year's high enough up there to give us that extra day off. Texas, you say, I've watched some of Scare Package 2 today. It's pretty funny. I've seen the first one. I think I need to check out the second one. I'm not sure if Steve has seen both of them or not. I'm pretty sure he's seen the first one as well. He was actually, before he went to lay down this evening, was watching something called Runaway Train. And I really would have liked to have sat down and watched it, but I was trying to get us some chili fix. And so I was listening to it, but I didn't actually get to sit down and watch it per se. And although I'm feeling a little better now, earlier today I was feeling pretty lousy. Kind of like I was trying to get a cold or something. And I'm sure that the weather changing back and forth from being really cold to being a little bit warmer is not helping anything. Ooh, I like Kelly Maroney, so I would probably like that. TJ, you say I watched Glass Onion last night. It was excellent. What exactly is that one about, TJ? It seems like I am familiar with the title, but I am a little fuzzy on the plot. Oh, that the Knives Out mystery. That's my okay. Yeah, I need to watch that. I definitely need to watch that. Yeah, sequel to Knives Out. Yeah. Maybe Steve can is that on one of the streaming services right now, TJ? Because me and Steve might be able to watch it that way. Or if maybe he could find it somewhere. An alternative place. I'm not saying just exactly where, but you know. You say great cast, even Batista. Texas, you say Netflix. Okay, awesome. You know what? The first thing I was thinking about when you said Glass Onion, though, TJ, was the Beatles. And that line, looking through a glass onion. Yeah. That's just the thing that hit me right when you said that. But see that I am drinking a little Fireball whiskey, but it usually doesn't make me this warm. That's one thing. It seems like I'm getting feverish on and off, which really sucks because I haven't had fevers for a little bit. I actually stopped having them after several months of having them on and off every day. But now it seems like something's going on again where, I'm having intermittent ones again. So that really sucks. Don't like that. Oh, awesome. TJ, you say, yeah, they referenced the song. That's all I'll say. LOL. Texas, you say Jamie Lee Batista. LOL. But do you guys, TJ, Texas, do y'all have any suggestions for maybe some movies you'd like me to do some future watch-alongs on? Since you guys are basically the two that are in here right now. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Otherwise, you guys may be stuck with whatever I pick, which you might not like too well. I don't know. I mean, most people have seemed like they've liked a lot of the stuff that I picked. But I'm sure I have some stinkers in there that not a lot of people care for. You'd like me to do a watch along for Sweet Sugar, Texas? I think Steve may have that movie. Maybe could do that. Oh, Truck Turner. I think Steve has Truck Turner as well. Hey, John. I'm glad to see you in here. Do you have I just finished up talking about the DePalma movies, but do you have any movies you want to throw out there that you would like to see me do watch-alongs for? I'm taking requests. John, you say you should do a watch along for Monster Man 2003. It's a wild one. I'm gonna have to look into that. I don't think I've heard of that one. Let me look that up. I'm intrigued now. So, John, is it the one about two guys and a female hitchhiker are terrorized by a monstrous looking man driving a giant monster truck? That does sound fun. John, you say, I'm watching and listening to Waxwork Friday Part 1 soundtrack. It's creepy in here alone. Why do I do this to myself? I catch myself doing that kind of stuff too, John. Or, watching movies that are not necessarily horror movies, but they're maybe movies based on true cases where there were I'm not making fun of mental illness at all. I'm just saying that people that have things like schizophrenia and stuff, and I know that they can't help it. It would be a terrible thing to have happen to you. But it makes me nervous. It kind of creeps me out. The thought that somebody would hear voices telling them things that weren't true, that people were trying to poison them or trying to kill them or, whatever, and they could just wig out at any time. But I have found myself watching movies like that. Like there was a movie several years ago. It's been a lot of years ago with Nancy McKeon on it, and I believe it was called Strange Voices. And it was all about this college student who all of a sudden started hearing voices telling her, that her family was trying to kill her, that her boyfriend and her best friend at college were messing around. And that movie really, really creeped me out watching it. But then, it's one of those things where you just can't stop yourself from watching it. Another movie, with Valerie Bertinelli on it. Let me see if I can think I know. I think I know the title. Yeah, it's called Murder of Innocence. And this is based on a true story. The name Laurie Wade is a fake name, but this is based on a book, I think, of the same name, where this woman finds her marriage and eventually the rest of her life shattered by deep-rooted psychotic behavior. She goes from brief short circuits to overtly murderous behavior. But what is really upsetting about this movie and about the book is it's never really explained what happened, what went wrong with her in the movie or in the book. She just basically has a mental collapse. I know the movie keeps showing these kids running around a little girl who I assume is supposed to be Laurie Wade in the movie when she was little, kind of like dancing around her, and she's sitting on a slide in the playground, and they show her like mimicking with her hand a gun, like she's shooting these kids that are making fun of her. And you're not really sure if something really traumatic happened when she was a kid, or it was something to do with her parents, because her parents are kind of odd too, especially her mother. Um, but she ends up, trying to poison these kids. She goes up into an elementary school and shoots some kids, and this really happened. And then she ends up kind of taking a mom and her son hostage. And then she basically goes upstairs in one of their bedrooms and kills herself, shoots herself. And it's just so disturbing, again, because you don't know what caused this. Um, and I guess in real life they didn't know what happened to her to cause this. I mean, in the movie, she starts out basically normal. And she catches the eye of this guy that comes into a restaurant where she's a waitress or a hostess or something like that. And they get married, and everything seems okay, but then they're moving stuff, like they're getting a new couch and stuff like that, and the husband goes to work, and they start asking her, the moving guys, like, lady, where do you want this and stuff, and she just collapses on the floor and is crying, and her husband comes home and he's like, what's wrong, but then it gets progressively more psychotic. She works at a job where she works with computers, and she just sits there and laughs and lets Coke drip off of her straw into the keyboard. She calls up her husband's family and giggles. And it's really very bizarre. She takes all the meat out of the refrigerator and puts it into dresser drawers. And I believe she takes the clothes and puts in the refrigerator. So, again, I don't know why I watch stuff like that, because it is very disturbing. And excuse me, especially the ones that are based on true stories. What makes it excuse me, makes it even more haunting, and gets inside your head a little bit. But Johnny say with headphones in nonetheless. You say that's the one, yes, okay. Well, I may have to see about getting that one headed up. TJ, you say, haha, John, never listen alone. Oh, yes, TJ, Phantom of the Mall would be a good one. John agrees, it looks like. So we've got some, Texas put in here Sweet Sugar and Truck Turner. We got Phantom of the Mall. We got Monster Man. Kazoom type. Yeah, thank you, TJ. Yeah, I mean, that's what I've been doing every day. Basically, I feel like flushed a little bit, like feverish, and then I start the sneezing. And that's been happening daily, usually late in the evening and stuff like this, is when it kind of gets started. But I've almost been on here an hour and 10 minutes, so I think now would be a good time to wrap it up. Thank you guys for being in here with me, and thank you for giving me some suggestions for future watch-alongs. And with all that being said, I think I am going to skedaddle on out of here for the night and take me a nice hot shower and try to relax a little bit, tend to my animals, my many other animals, plus my dogs, and check on Steve, make sure he's okay and all that, and then try to get some rest because we're going to get up kind of early and go and get groceries tomorrow since Steve and I are both off tomorrow. So again, I welcome everybody that wants to come on live on the New Year's Evil watch along Saturday night at 7:15 p.m. Eastern time. And if you can't or don't wish to come on live, that is fine. You can still join us in the chat. And I really look forward to it. We will be doing another My Dinner with DePalma next Thursday, barring anything happening. Thank you, Texas. You say great stream as always. And again, with all that being said, I'm going to skedaddle on out of here for the night, and I will see everyone on the flip side. Y'all have a good night now.